Hello my friends, and welcome to another situation report. Today is 291 of the Ukraine-Russian war, and so let's get straight to it. We start at the deep state map, and it's saying that the situation is difficult in Bakhmut. Some details on Yakovivka. Fighting resumed in Novosibirsk, the area of Kamayeski, where prisoner exchanges take place, has been clarified. And so there is a little bit of change, and I gotta really zoom in here so to show you guys, because you wouldn't believe it, but the advances that they're making are just ridiculous. Okay, so this is Bakhmut here, and this was yesterday. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see this. And this is today. So this little area right here, about 3 blocks is what they took. Like, zoom into it. Let's see here, yeah. Maybe 4 blocks. And then they took a little bit in Pinsky. Where is that? Right here. So if we come here, this was yesterday, or no, they actually lost some ground. So that is all the major change for the last 24 hours, guys. As you can see, like, the front is really just a stalemate. Winter is pretty tough here. Actually, I see some clarification up here, but I mean just very little. Let's see here. As you can see, guys, very small. So having said that, let's move on. Let's keep it pushing, as I like to say. And with that, I wanted to show you guys this Ukrainian tank on the move. It looks like he's moving pretty good, like for a tank. And so it looks like the Russians went that way, and let's go chase them down. We have here the Russian losses as of December 11th. So they lost another estimated 380 troops, 3 armored personnel vehicles, 5 fuel vehicles or fuel tanks, 2 tanks, 1 artillery, 10 UAVs, and I believe that's it, yeah. Okay. We've got Pravda reporting Ukraine's armed forces have repelled attacks near 11 settlements and strike 8 Russian military targets, and that's from the General Staff report. And at the same time, Russians have launched 3 missile attacks and 17 airstrikes, as well as 60 attacks from multiple launch rocket systems. Okay, and then we've got News 360 reporting that Moscow demands measures against Finns who burned a Russian flag in Helsinki. Now this is incredibly funny to me. Russian authorities have demanded that Finland take legal action against those who burned a Russian flag as an act of protest in the streets of the Finnish capital Helsinki on Tuesday. The Russian Foreign Ministry said on Saturday that it issued a statement calling for those responsible for the offense to be brought to justice and for measures to be taken to prevent such extreme actions in the future. Like, I don't understand what they don't realize, that Finland is joining NATO and they're going to be burning all of their Russian flags. Actually, the whole world is going to be doing that. And here we have, okay guys, Ukrainians throw Russian soldiers in the back of their Humvee. Basically, get in the truck and let's go. They threw him in head first. 3.
Всіх забрали?
4. Okay, so let's throw them in the trunk and let's go. Let's get to it. Okay, so Radio Free Europe is reporting that Ukrainian forces hit occupied southern city in Melitopol and claimed big Russian losses. And they say Ukrainian forces blasted the Russian occupied city of Melitopol with more than a dozen explosions lighting up the sky amid conflicting reports of casualties among Russian forces. Residents of the strategic southern city of some 150,000 people reported that large explosions rang out in eastern Melitopol on late December 10th, with fires burning into the morning of December 11th. Several blasts hit a hotel and restaurant complex known as Hunter's Halt on the eastern outskirts of the city area, residents reported. And I've got more on this, guys. It says this is the governor. This is reporting from the Kyiv Independent. Explosions reported at Wagner headquarters in occupied Luhansk Oblast. And according to Luhansk Oblast Governor Sergei Haidai, an explosion occurred at the headquarters of Russian state-controlled mercenary Wagner group in Kadivka. There are huge losses, he said. And the BBC reported on this as well. Ukraine strikes Wagner headquarters in Luhansk, governor says. And the Ukrainian forces have struck a headquarters of Russia's Wagner mercenary group in eastern Ukraine, Luhansk Ukrainian governor has said. Sergei Haidai said a hotel where the group was based in Kadivka, Luhansk region was hit, and he added that there were major Russian losses. The BBC was unable to independently verify Wagner's presence at the hotel. Wagner state-sponsored mercenaries who act in Kremlin's interest, according to Western experts. The private military company set up by Yevgeny Prigozhin, a former restaurateur and close associate has been repeatedly accused of, we all know that. Okay, so that was that one. And Pravda is also reporting the Invincibility Center Bakhmut, what is happening at the most difficult axis on the front. And the main Invincibility Center of the country, Fortress City and City of Heroes. This is how the defenders of Bakhmut have been described for the last few weeks, with videos posting depicted trenches reminiscent of World War I, once a city of 70,000 people, which is now being attacked by the Russians over a wide front. The occupiers focused their attention on Bakhmut in the middle of July. And guys, they haven't even entered Bakhmut. That's how That's how awful it's going for the Russians. I mean, when they say Bakhmut holds, Bakhmut is holding. It's almost it's getting to be close to surrounded. We go back here on the deep state map. Let's zoom in here because this is where all the fighting is going on. So here's Bakhmut, and we'll go back a few days and you can see that they had advanced and then they got repelled. Like, they've been throwing everything that they have at this and without any success. And you can see, like, this has been going on for months and they can't get their act together. And so let's get back to Western analysis, and Ukrainian officials say Russia is trying to encircle the city. And is everything really so critical? Ukrainska Pravda has been closely monitoring the situation on the Bakhmut front since the beginning of June. And during the last trip to the combat zone, Pravda had the opportunity to talk with the military who keep the borders on the front to the north, east, and south of Bakhmut, and also see with our own eyes the situation in the city. Below is the situation on the Bakhmut front. So that's really it. It hasn't changed much. I've been reporting on it. Everybody's been reporting on it. And like, the Russians are out of firepower. Well, they're not out of firepower. It's just that they're so basically unorganized that they can't advance, or they've run out of heavy armor. It seems like, guys, like, it is awesome that they're basically they can't do anything. Okay, so the Kyiv Post is reporting that Ukraine actively developing domestic drones. Ukraine is working on the development of its own drones, which are one of the most effective types of weapons. And we've seen that on plenty of videos here. Ole Bolrev, the project manager to UK Robopon State Concern, said this to Nastoyevsky Vremya media outlet in an interview. According to him, the current war is moving towards the battle of unmanned systems. Ukraine is actively working to provide its defenders with these types of systems in the required number. And it's already produced. I would call it Patient Zero. It flies. It's a combat drone, a kamikaze option. But we Ukrainians are very greedy people. Our kamikazes will be able to return, he said. That's pretty interesting. This is the first time I'm hearing about that. Boldrev explained that the option of return means that the drones will be able to track enemy targets several times. The flight range of the new UAVs is 1,000 kilometers and the payload weighs 75 kilograms. So that's the first time that I've heard that these kamikaze drones will be able to return. And I wanted to show you guys this video where we have a Ukrainian drone crew prepping munitions for dropping on Russian positions. And this is pretty interesting. Copyrighted music. You can see the little bomblets there. That's got to be pretty scary, actually, to arm the drone like that and let it take off, knowing that if you drop it, it's goodbye. So I did want to show you guys that. Also, UkraineInform.net is reporting a war to end through military defeats of Russia, sanctions, and internal sabotage. And there's only one way to end the war: the military defeats of Russia, sanctions against Russia, and internal sabotage within the Russian Federation. The relevant statement was made by advisor to the head of the Office of President of Ukraine, Mikhailo Podolyak, on Twitter. A Ukrainian informed correspondent reports. No need to be scared of post-Putin future. There is only one way to end the war: military defeats of Russia on the battlefield, sanction depletions of Russian economy, isolation of Russia on world markets, and internal sabotage within Russia equals Ukraine's victory and recovery of global security. So I think he's spot on that. Like, there's been so much internal sabotage that let's report on that. And here we have some saboteurs in Krasnoyarsk. Railway partisans attacked more signal cabinets on the 9th of December. The line they focused on connects Krasnodar to Crimea, making it one of the most vital lines for supplying Russia's army in southern Ukraine. And this was reported by the Freedom of Russia Legion. And here we got a little picture of it burning. So I did want to show that. And then this was interesting as well. Next is reporting there was a flood at the Sheremetyevo airport in Moscow due to false triggering of the alarm. And I don't think this is... So you can see water dripping everywhere in the airport. It's probably going to mold up, right? The whole airport. Somebody just pulled the fire alarm. Like, this is, and every day we're seeing fires. Like, it's sabotage, and it's what they deserve. They should never have started this war. And so here we get to wanted to show this as well. Probably should have showed it way earlier, but this is Ukrainians using a self-loading mortar. Okay.
Кидай! Плюс работаем! Ну давай. Серый. Перезаряд! Работаем. Пидорасов за Харьков!
I believe that's around the Bakhmut area too. It's all out war. And then, guys, to wrap up today's report, we've got a little bit of a good news. Ukrainian kids dancing with Patron, the mascot. Patron is the little doggy that cleans up the mines or detects mines. And so we have this. And you can see them all really happy, and little dog is the mascot, they're getting behind him. And so that was today's report, guys. I thank you very much. And I wanted to ask you guys if you'd please give me a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm a brand new channel, guys. I try to report the war in a positive, uplifting way. It's pretty hard, considering that this is war. However, I support Ukraine and its defense of its territory. I really want the war to be over with as soon as possible. And I'm rooting for the Ukrainians, guys. And so having said that, thank you for spending your time with me. I really appreciate your time. I try not to waste it and make these reports as fast as possible. And having said that, guys, I wish you guys a beautiful day and peace out, my friends.